Hello and welcome to this first impressions video of Quake Champions. I played a lot of Quake back in the day. I played it at school with my fellow students. It wasn't really appropriate for our age, but yeah, we really didn't care, and neither did our school, so that was a plus. And yeah, the version that we played in particular was Quake 3 Arena. We played the demo through LAN, and we had the greatest fun that you could have while playing a game, and that's why I remember that game very, very fondly. So now they have made Quake Champions, and I really wasn't all that interested in it because I was still playing Wolfenstein and Doom, so those were my focus at the moment. Then because Doom was just out when they released trailers and stuff, I really didn't care all that much. And yeah, I haven't seen those trailers, so I didn't know really what they were going to do with this game. That's why I needed to read a lot about it in articles from, oh, what kind of game is this going to be? So that's also how I found out this is going to be a free-to-play game. And yeah, I just avoided most of the news and I just signed in for the beta. And now that I've played this, I will give you my first impressions. So Quake Champions, as the name suggests, is a game where you play with different champions, and those are just different kind of players. So it isn't like in the old games that you just pick a different player model. Here they also play a little bit different, and how they do that is they have different health stats, different speed stats, stuff like that. But on top of that, they also have active powers and passive powers. Or most of the time just one active and one passive power, but there are characters with two. So for the beta there were just 8 characters, and things you saw in there for special powers were like making armor, shooting an energy ball that did damage, going invisible, making a charge. Overall very, I think, a little bit boring stuff. There were some interesting things, like there's one character that just makes himself more powerful the further he goes without dying. So he starts with low health, but his health increases the longer he lives. I think that's a really cool, way for good players to play, because they can gamble, and if they think they won't die as much, if they are that good, then they can really become really powerful characters. And if not, you're really going to suck. So I think that's an interesting thing if you are just thinking about what kind of character do I want to play, and then making a gamble. So yeah, there was some really cool stuff in there, but overall it just felt a little bit without imagination. Not a lot of original stuff to find here. But yeah, there are lots of unlocks. And you do that by playing, you get unlocks by playing, but you can also get unlocks by the well-known loot boxes at this point. This game does have 3. One you get for free when you level up, and those you can also buy. Then you have the cheap ones, the lower tier ones. You can buy them with currency you earn very quickly while playing. And then the last one you can only get when you buy them, and that's annoying because of course they for sure have the most uncommon things. And what I really hate about that is, yeah, of course they have the most uncommon things, you are really paying for them for sure, but I don't want that to be something you need to pay for. I said that wrong. I don't want to be that something, if you pay for it, that you still need to gamble from what you're going to get. I just want to have that if you pay for a certain skin, you get that skin. But yeah, that's just the way they go. They are going to offer a version that for 50 euros, at least. I know it's $50. I don't know if it translates to euros as well. Exactly the same. I guess not. I think it will be around 45 euros. But you can buy all the champions at once, and you will also get the future ones that they make. I think that's very nice, and that's probably what I'm going to do when I buy this game. But you still need to unlock those skins, not by buying them, because then you still have the gamble thing. You can't in this game buy everything and have everything for certain. And yeah, that's just something that I don't like, but for most people it's accepted right now. So yeah, it's just something that if you are against it, then you may want to take that into account, but I guess it won't be a problem for most people. And if you aren't going with that option to buy every champion, then you can unlock them by playing, and some of the loot boxes will contain those heroes. So that's the other way to get it. So now that we have the payment plan out of the way and just the tactical stuff from that side, let's go into the actual gameplay. So I first started off with a normal team deathmatch, and I wasn't really feeling it. I really didn't like how it played at that moment. I think the weapons were just not clearing what they were doing. Turned out that the weapon that I used most is the lightning gun. That had a bug, so that was why it wasn't really clear when it was shooting and when it wasn't shooting. So they fixed that later in the week, and then that went well, but that was just my first impression at that time, and that's also why it's good that I do a first impression after playing for a couple of hours, because then I know if it is a bug or not, instead of just if this was a real first impression like the first 10 minutes that I played, then I was very negative about it without it actually being true. It was true at the time, but it changed a lot very quickly. But yeah, I wasn't really feeling it, and then I tried to play a normal deathmatch, and again I wasn't really feeling it. That was on the same map. And then I saw that there was a third option that I could play, and that was a game mode called Sacrifice. And Sacrifice is a spin on Capture the Flag. There spawns like a soul, they call it, I think, in the middle of the map. You need to pick it up and bring it home to your base and then defend it. And it was by far the most fun mode for me. I think I played that around 80% of the time. And yeah, I really enjoyed myself in that game mode. The weapons felt very good. It was a little bit weird getting used to the big FOV. It's by default 130, so it's around 40 more than most games. And if you play games like Call of Duty, it's more than double. So yeah, that's really weird to get used to at the start, but it is very nice that you can just see about everything that's going on that's in front of you. And yeah, lots of guns you recognize from the old game. They are different in how they look and a little bit different in how they handle, but you know which weapons they were in the older games. And also the map design is really good. It feels very big, but some of the maps are still, most of the maps are really small, and some of the maps are just small, they aren't really small, but they aren't big by far either. And yeah, it really felt like the levels you saw in Quake 3 Arena. So I'm really glad that the level design seems to be very good, like on par with Quake 3 Arena. I did want to have bigger maps though, because that's just, I like bigger maps. So I hope to see them in the future too. I know Quake 3 didn't have all that much big maps, so I guess they will be sparingly over here in this game as well. But yeah, I do want to know what they are going to do with maps in the future, because in this demo there were 3 maps. If I remember right, let's see. Yeah, 3 maps that you played on. And yeah, one map I didn't really like and the other 2 were fine. There was one map that I really liked, so but it needs to have lots of maps at the start when the game launches. I think they need to have at least like 12 maps and then build on that in the future. And also I want to know how many heroes, how many champions they are going to make, just for the longevity. But I guess that will be clear in the future pretty soon. But as I said, the level design was like the older games, but I also wanted to know how the feeling was of the old games, so how the movement was of the old games, if that was the same. So I tried to bunny hop, stuff like that, and that all worked. And you got quicker and quicker the more you did bunny hop. So yeah, it felt really much like the old games, which I really liked. So it seems they have the essentials of the game perfectly right. So I'm really happy with that. But there is a problem with balancing for that some heroes clearly are better at the moment than others. I don't know if that's just because people are better with certain heroes at the moment than others because they don't really understand the heroes yet. But it seems that Nyx, which is the girl with the blue hair, or Vision, gets picked a lot at the moment. Because Nyx is very quick and Vision can see through walls. And yeah, I hope that that isn't a balancing issue, but we will see that in the future. But it seems that it needs certain things changed about them, because for example with Nyx, she's very quick, but she's also very small, so that makes her very hard to hit with, for example, the nail gun, because the nail gun has a delay on it. So you need to shoot where she's going, and that can be very hard when she moves so quickly and the hitboxes are pretty small in comparison to like the tank types. And then she can also turn invisible when she's finally on low health, so then you just can't kill her. So yeah, there are some things that are a little bit off, I feel like, but some people would say like her turning invisible is hurting the game. Those special powers are hurting the game. I wouldn't say so. I can't say that I like them. I think, of course, they come from the fact that Overwatch is very popular right now, and those have those actives as well. Because yeah, otherwise it wouldn't be in a Quake game, I feel. But I'm not negative about them either. They are fun and they aren't like really big damaging things. You still need to be good with your gun and just play with your gun. And they do bring skill, except for the barrier, and that's the only thing I don't like. Like the big robot has just a barrier that absorbs damage. That's just, like I said, one of the boring ones. But that's also one that requires absolutely no skill. I don't like that ones in games like this. But yeah, on the active things, I'm pretty neutral. The thing that for me is the biggest problem in this game is the UI. The presentation just isn't very good at the moment. It isn't engaging. Like at the start, when the teams faces each other before the match begins, there is almost no music. When the game is done and you have the first 3 players presented, there is again almost no music. They don't say a lot. There aren't a lot of surroundings that make noise. You don't really see a clear scoreboard at the end. And when you have if you play around and you lose, so it's 0-1, and then you win a round, so it's draw again, it's 1-1. Those middle sections where you see the score, they are just a plain red screen with 1-1 on it. It doesn't have a certain look to it. It's just boring. It isn't engaging at all. That's something that I really don't like. And also, if you are in the main menu, you can see the 3 currencies that they have, and it's just overall a very cluttered main screen. I also don't like that. I want to have a clean main menu, and then in the second screen you can go into the choose your champion, customize your champion, stuff like that. And also the main voice. When you win, when you lose, when a ghost spawns, you hear the main voice, the presenter voice. It's very boring as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know how much it will cost to buy like individual heroes, but that's something that we are going to figure out in the future. But overall, I'm really positive. There were some matchmaking errors, like with not errors, but matchmaking things like you being up against a high level player. But I think that's just because it's a beta and not that many people are playing it right now, understandably. So I'm now hoping that that will be figured out in the full release of the game, and that's why I don't say anything bad about it now, because I think that's just because of a beta. But yeah, matchmaking can be a little bit iffy in the beta. But yeah, I really like this game, so I think I will be playing this in the future too. I know that for sure. The only thing that I'm a little bit iffy about now is the price to get all heroes. It's 50 euros or $50, and that just feels a little bit high to me for a game like this. Like also Overwatch for me was pretty expensive as well. Overwatch, I said I would buy for around 15 euros. I think this one is around 20 for me that I would buy it, maybe 25. But that's already a little bit stretching it, so yeah, I will be waiting for a sale to get those heroes, because I just think it's a little bit too much for a game like this. Unless of course they have a lot of content. But yeah, that's just something that we will figure out in the future. And here was where I'm going to end this video, but then I thought, wait, there was one game mode that I haven't talked about. That's because I only played 1 or 2 rounds, because you needed to unlock other heroes as well, and that's duel mode. It's basically you pick 3 heroes, the other one pick 3 heroes. You can choose which hero you are going to pick, and you shoot each other. And the one that kills 3 heroes the fastest wins. It's very fun, but it has some problems, and that's that it's a continuous match. It isn't like in Overwatch where you have duel, that okay, you've killed the other, everything resets, everybody starts at the same place again, and you're going up against each other again. Here it is, if you kill the other, you stay on the map, you're just walking around, and the other one spawns somewhere on the map. And so it's a continuous thing. And the problem with that is that the spawn points sometimes are right in front of the enemy, just like in the other modes. And that's something that they need to change as well, which I almost forgot. This happens in all game modes. You can spawn just before an enemy, and because there isn't an invincible time, and you need to figure out where am I, where's the enemy, what's the enemy in that time, because the other player was already in the focus from playing the game. He will already have seen you spawning, and he will shoot you down immediately. So that's just a cheap death. They really need to fix that as well. But yeah, that's it. I really like the game, and I do recommend it that you give it a try when it comes out. Thanks for watching this video, and see you next time.